starting just a couple of minutes late. We wanted to make sure we had a little bit of a quorum before we got started here. Thank you for attending today's CFE community chat. We have hosted more than 20 of these sessions since we kicked off this initiative last April. So it's fun, it's new, relatively new for us. And it's something we intend to keep going into the new school year. So if you have any ideas, other things that you'd like to see in these chats in this particular program, always feel free to reach out. We're always open to suggestions and ideas. So for those of you, any of you new to CFE, to the Chicago Foundation for Education, I'm Sarah Hoppy Knight. I'm the co-executive director of the organization and the manager of programs. We're a Chicago-based education nonprofit. We've been around for almost 40 years. We just are now celebrating our 38th year coming up. We support and fund CPS educators so they can best serve their students and grow in their profession. So we have a lot of different programs, a lot of different offerings. We've added a bunch of things in the last year to be as responsive as possible to our educators. So check us out if you aren't familiar. We have been awarding grants and fellowships and offering professional growth opportunities to CPS pre-K through 12th grade educators for the entire time we've been in existence. So that, 4-decade roughly period. And we continue to provide funding and also a lot of PD opportunities and things like this. So we hope that you'll stay connected with us. Also, we know how incredibly mentally and physically exhausting your days can be as educators, particularly considering all of the added challenges and emotional turmoil associated with this year. So we're just so glad you chose to spend some time with us and NK this afternoon. A few quick notes before we get started. If you have any questions today during the session, it's a little bit of a unique session. It's, it's obviously not like the lecture or anything like that. So if you do have questions though for NK or for any one of us, pop them in the chat box if you want. We can, just do it in open forum at the end if anyone would like to speak their questions aloud or their comments aloud, that's completely fine too. This session is being recorded, as you know, and the recording will be posted along with any shared resources throughout the session today on our website's resource roundup later this week. And then again, just keep your eye out in that chat box for helpful messages and things from Kayla, my program associate. So we will get started. Our presenter today is NK Gutiérrez. She is joining us for a second time. So she did a first chat with us many months ago, and we're so thrilled to have her back. NK began her professional career in fitness in 2009 when she became a Fit Start coach through her local gym. She took this path to help guide and inspire others who felt the need to make positive life changes, but were unsure how to begin those journeys. Presently, NK uses her life experience coupled with her BA in psychology to help clients break through the mental barriers that prevent them from reaching their physical goals. NK is an ACE certified group fitness instructor, an NCSF Council certified instructor for Zumba, Pilates Pro, Bender Bar Method, Bar Pro, and yoga. So now I will turn the floor over to NK.
Hi, y'all. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I hope you all have been enjoying this sunny day, whether you're inside or outside. And just the idea that there is sunbeaming makes things more digestible, in my opinion. If you love the sun, if you don't, well, then I'm sorry. I want to, really quickly, do I need to admit people now, or can y'all still admit them? Okay, got it. All right, I just gotta make sure all the humans get in here. I'm incredibly excited that you all came to share your afternoon with me because, yes, life is lifing, days are daying, and educators, y'all have a heavy lift. And it is not lost on me that it is incredibly intentional for you to come spend an afternoon after work with me when you could be laying down staring at something. So we're going to get some good stuff out of this. And the first thing I want you to do, so that you heard a little bit about who I am and what I do, most importantly, I love to create space for people to hold space for themselves. especially as caretakers, which I believe all educators are caretakers. It's very easy to center other people in the narrative. And as a caretaker, you're usually the last person on the list. And it requires something of you to really get intentional about centering yourself. So I have a 8-week program that I do one-on-one coaching with clients to get them in the zone. So Thickletic in the Zone is really a program that helps you look at where you are in your own way from whatever it is that you want to accomplish in your life, whether it be mentally, physically, financially, emotionally. That is really what Thickletic helps you do, is kind of look at what that is and then help you bridge that gap between the chasm that lies between the head knowledge and actually getting into action so you can get to the other side of what it is that you want. And I believe that educators and caretakers very specifically come up against this challenge a lot, because it's not like you don't know what to do. It's not like how you don't know how to be intentional. It's not like you don't know how to make plans and how to look at a situation and figure out how you're going to get from point A to point B and be incredibly intentional about what steps and systems it's going to require. You do that all day, every day with the humans that you're teaching. But often it becomes very challenging to then use that energy to do it for yourself. So what we really do is we spend that 8 weeks helping you track with yourself to start caring for yourself the way that you truly care for others, so that you can be purposeful at all times. And purposeful doesn't mean that you're always doing. It's also giving yourself the permission to be. So we're going to take a little excerpt of what I do in 8 weeks, and we're going to put it to practice here today. So the first thing I want you all to do is take a look around at your space. Take a look around at your space that you've created for yourself today. So you may have just ran in and got on the call because you just had to make it, because it was the thing that you had on your to-do list. But I want you to look at your space the same way you do your office or your classroom. There's nothing like an educator who gets their classroom ready for the beginning of the year. Y'all come up with the coolest things to engage your learners. So I want you to apply that same energy to your beginning of the year room setup, to your beginning of your practice for Thickletic setup. So have a look around. Is there clutter? Is the space that you've created something that makes you feel good when you look around? And I don't care what you see. I'm not judging you. We won't even talk about the craziness that I have to sift through on a daily. But just look like just a little piece of heaven that you carved out for yourself right now. Did you light a candle? Do you have a cozy spot to sit in? How about the clothes that you have on your body? What is that looking like? And most of you, I can't see you. And if you're anything like me, I like to practice yoga and now it's all about Zoom yoga for me. And I practice with the old studio that I used to live in Mexico. And so it's nice to be able to tap in and practice. I never turn the camera on because I look crazy. And that's part of the thing that I love about it. I can look crazy and I don't have to get cute or halfway decent to go to the studio. So I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you have on. I want you to look at what you have on and the little piece of heaven you carved out and ask yourself, is it giving me the vibes that I need to show up as powerfully as I need to for this 90 minutes? And we're going to take the next couple of minutes. We're going to actually take 4 minutes to be super intentional about what in your space you could shift around, if anything. And when I say shift, I'm talking down to the drinks that you have on hand, to the candle that you can pull from the other room to light. Whatever it is, I want you to take that new room, beginning of the school year energy and apply it to you. Go. You got 4 minutes. You're on the clock. It's 42 right now, so we're going to meet back at 46. I'm actually going to turn my camera off so you can have your privacy. I'm not even looking at you, okay? We got 1 minute right here to start wrapping up. Ooh, okay, there we go. And we're back. I forgot to turn my mute off. I invite you now, if you feel comfortable, to go ahead and turn on your video. If you're like me and you like to do this topless, like I like to practice yoga topless, I'll just let you know. Then, cool, no worries. Do you? Don't turn on the camera. But if you feel comfortable, or throughout this you start to feel a little more comfortable, I truly invite you to do that, just to help us to build some more intimacy in the space. So I want you to take just a moment to observe whatever it is that you change about your space, if anything. And this is a moment where I'd like to open up the floor for people to offer if one thing that they may have changed about their space that shifted their perspective on how they could be a little more intentional about setting up their space for success. Do we have anybody who wants to offer, even if it's in the chat, and then Sarah can read it to me? You can offer that way as well. Hi, Yvonne.
Hello. I'd like to offer that I have a very small space and I also came in late, but I sprayed something and I turned off the lights. It helps me get in the zone.
Love it. Love it. Anybody else?
I decided to stop thinking and just relax and be calm, close my eyes and listen to your music.
Oh, that's so good. So just help you to get really present. Yeah. For your brain to get inside of your body. Nice. It's beautiful, Sue. Anyone else? We'll take one more. Who's it going to be?
The lighting. Okay. So I was using a lot of unnatural light, synthetic light. So I opened my blinds and it feels like a different space.
Oh my gosh, so good. And what I want y'all to look at is I gave you 4 minutes to make a mindful shift, to just allow you to get more present and to settle in. And what would that look like if you did that in every situation? Even if you're running late, it doesn't matter, because if you're running late and you come in and you don't ground yourself, the work doesn't get done as powerfully as it could if you just took even 2 minutes to get a little more intentional about finding your feet and getting back in your body. And it's the same thing. So I'll also offer that, aside from all the other things I do, and obviously I teach fitness, but I'm also an educator, and I tutor math and English. I've taught for Orion's Mind and after school programs and CPS for years, and the Illinois Caucus of Adolescent Health. So, I understand, though I only have to be with the kids after school, y'all are on a whole different level, giving you 70 thumbs up. But I understand what it requires to have to track with your learner when they come in for the day. And you start to build a rhythm with them and understand just by the way that they walk in the room, what they're going to be showing up with at their desk. And in that moment, no matter what your lesson plan is, when you're really in my opinion, when you're an educator that's really powerfully tracking with your learner, you know that you need to accomplish the lesson plan, but you also know that you have to get them grounded and get them focused and it's going to look different every day, moment to moment. So what you had set up and in place, just because you have this plan, if you try to beat the kid down with this plan, nothing gets accomplished except for you being attached to this plan as opposed to committed to what you want them to receive on that day. And you get so focused on attachment and so focused on the frustration of like, I had it all planned out like this and now it's going that way, that the whole day or the whole hour is lost because you were so attached to how you thought it ought to go, as opposed to committed to them getting what they need. And when you think of you, how often you do that in your day to day with each and every one of your learners, what would it look like if you showed up for yourself the same way? What would it look like if when you wake up when you're just like, I'm really not in it today, and instead of being like, oh my gosh, I bet so and so gets up and they worked out and they made their smoothie and they've done this and they've had their lesson plan done for weeks, and here I am, I can barely brush my teeth and get out the door or get onto my Zoom and blah blah blah, and say, oof, it's a rough one today. All right, what do I need to feel more powerful in this moment? What do I need to help me show up as powerfully as I can? Because this is all I got. This is what I'm working with today. So how do I work with this powerfully? Because here's the thing about things. Us not acknowledging the thing or what is going on does not make it disappear, right? So it's like, I'm gonna have to put that away for later, and I just have to go and do this, and I have to get this accomplished, and I'll just deal with that thing later. As opposed to being like, this thing is really here for me today, whatever that thing is, right? Whether it's an argument, whether it's not feeling good in your body, maybe it's your menstrual cycle, maybe it's your menstrual cycle drying up, all these different things, they're all happening to us, right? And so what if whew, instead of beating yourself up about it, you're like, wow, this is a tall order today. This is a heavy lift. And I only got 10%, but I'm going to just 10% the hell out of it. And in my 10%, I'm going to give myself everything I'm able to make me be as powerful as I can in that 10%. And maybe it's that day I was like, yeah, I did batch cook a meal, but I really, really don't want it. It's going to make me really sad to eat it. So I'm just going to go ahead and order this other thing. Or vice versa. I know that if I order this thing, I already don't feel good mentally. I'm not going to feel good in my body either. Like for me, I'm lactose intolerant. If I eat the thing that you brought with the dairy, it might taste good for 2 minutes, but I'm already having a rough day and then my stomach's going to hurt too. No, let me just go ahead and eat my batch cooked meal with my little steamed vegetables and keep it cute, because this is going to make me feel more powerful with the 10% I have to work with. So really all this is about is looking at what do I have to work with right now and what's going to make me feel most powerful in that moment. But before you can get an action around any of that, you have to take the moment to observe. You have to. So being productive and feeling powerful isn't it's not always about motion. Often it's about stillness. Because when you can get still, you can see the forest through the trees, right? And then you can make a powerful, educated decision about what your next best step is that day or that moment. Some of this is moment to moment, hour to hour, right? Sometimes we're not even planning for a week or a month or even a day. We're planning for the next 10 minutes because sometimes it is just that rough. And if 2020 taught us anything, it's awesome. It's just that rough. I just got to make it through the moment. So how do you get intentional about powerfully making it through the moment and being okay with it being hard? What does that look like? So the next thing we're going to do, I know in the invite, I do believe it asked you to bring a piece of paper and something to write with and a jar with a lid. Yes? Yes, yes. All right. So we're going to play a little game. We're going to start with 3 truths. So we're going to take the next 4 minutes. 4 minutes is the minutes of the day. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 3. I feel like it's 4 for us today. So we're going to take 4 minutes and we're going to write down 3 truths, at minimum, 3 truths that you know about yourself. And I will actually share my 3 truths just to get you inspired that I love so much. So here are some examples of 3 truths about myself. I am loved endlessly by my mother. I am a gifted leader. I am worthy of every opportunity I am given. So whatever your 3 truths are, and they can run the gamut, there is no right or wrong, but 3 things that you know to be true, even when people tell, and think about the things that people tell you about yourself that are true, that you know are true, but you even get embarrassed when they give you the accolades or the acknowledgement. You're just like, oh, okay. And then you like bounce it back to them like, and you're great too, girl. Those things. I want you to think about what those things are. And we're going to take 4 minutes. So at 4:49, we'll come back on. Almost there in 2 minutes. And keep intentionally thinking about it. You know, you're in your last minute here, but make an exhaustive list if you have the space for it. If you've done your 3 and you're like, I'm good, honor where that is as well. And I want you to look at the places right now where you can be honoring what you have to give in this moment. And the best thing, you're like, you know what, girl, I showed up. I'm here. I've given it, and allow whatever that is to be enough. Coming into our last 3, 2, and 1. All right. Would anybody like to share one of their truths? Anybody got anything they want to share?
I'll share.
Okay.
I need sleep to function and be in a good mood.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think that's a lie. And when I say that's a lie, that sometimes we will tell ourselves like we won't really honor that, right? And we'll schedule ourselves so wildly that we don't even honor the truth of what we need to show up powerfully, right? Like, oh, okay, I'm fine. I'm like, no, maybe you're not. Mm-mm. Anybody else? Eileen, you want to share? I see your name there. You hear me? They said, no, I don't. Oh, there she is.
Here I am.
Yay.
Thank you. This is amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, my children are my greatest joy.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Let's do one more. Shirley, how you feeling, Shirley? You feeling Sherry? Feel like sharing one of yours? Shirley said no. How about you, Joan? What you got?
I have worked 31 years in a very challenging system.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now I want to take a moment to challenge these truths another moment. Now, even in that specific share, and thank you so much, Joni, for sharing that, and Eileen for sharing yours, and Yvonne, everybody who shared. But I wanted to take it a step further and think about if you've shared like something like part of your circumstance and what you have accomplished in that circumstance, like working in a very challenging system, 31 years, snaps to you. Let's take that a step further and think about what's another truth, like who are you? Because you've worked for 31 years in a very challenging system. It's like, I am resilient, I am strong, I am resourceful, whatever that is. And that's a note for everybody. So if you have anything that are similar to that, where it's in alignment with what you've endured, I want you to take it a step further and look at identifying with who you are because you endured this thing. What does it say about you? What do other people say about you because they've seen you endure this thing? Does that make sense? Yes, yes?
Yes.
All right. So now we're going to write down 3 lies about ourselves. 3 lies. And usually those just flow off the pen. They flow. I'm going to share mine first to give you some inspiration. Let's see. Where did I put them? So things that I do very like specifically, and some of these things, and these particular ones I wrote a while ago, and I'm very excited to share that I have really transformed through some of these. But one of them is I am not enough because I did not pivot quickly enough. And this was at the top of the pandemic. And I felt like, for fitness instructors, very specifically, it's like all of a sudden everybody was online and they had their online platform and they were doing the thing. I'm like, oh my God, I can't get off the couch and figure out what I'm going to do next. And y'all already have a whole platform. Well, clearly I suck at life. And I was like, well, no, maybe I just needed to pause and figure out what I wanted to intentionally do next, which Thick Athletic in the Zone was born. And I'm so happy I waited. But that was one for me. Another one was I am unworthy of financial bailout for my business, because I had just launched my business at the top of 2019 and it did really well. But I was like, oh, we're such a bait. We're brand new. And I had like 5 events planned for last year, which we know what happened there. All events got canceled. So I was just like, well, my business isn't worthy of being helped because I haven't done X, Y, and Z, and comparing myself to other people and their businesses. Another lie I told myself was I will never make it because I cannot focus on one thing. And whatever make it looks like, even hearing that language now after writing these a year ago is really interesting to me. And just from that share, I do, you've heard some of my resume, I do a lot of things, and I'm a filmmaker, I'm an actor. Right now, it's like I'm working on a $1 million feature film as we speak that I was working on right before I got on this call. And I'm doing this, and I have my private clients, and I have a voiceover audition for Walmart that I have to turn in after this. And it's going great, y'all. So lies. So what are some lies? Now I'm going to shut my trap, and I'm going to give you your 3 more minutes, because I see the people I can't see. I know you're already writing, so I'm going to give you 3 more minutes to have some silence and think about what are some things that you lie about to yourself, lies that you tell yourself or that other people have told you. We're going to take 1 more minute here. Coming into our last 10 seconds, we're going to wrap up. All right. Anybody want to share a lie about themselves that they've discovered? And those are always a little more intimate, so I understand if you have pause or that's a boundary for you. There's absolutely no pressure.
I'll share.
Okay.
I'll never be able to start over again. I'm too old.
Yeah. Big lies, right? But something that we tell ourselves, yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
One that I hope is not a lie. I'll never be able to travel again.
Oh, the one that you, right. You one that you hope is not a lie, or you hope is a lie?
Hope is not a lie. I mean, I hope it's a lie.
Yes. Definitely a lie. That's a lie. Anyone else want to share? Yvonne?
I shouldn't try to do stuff publicly when it's not perfect yet.
Ooh, that one. That monster of perfection that keeps us from ever getting started or sharing, right? And so everything is always in constant revision and constant almost done, but not good enough yet. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, that one will get you.
I heard something about if you're not doing the thing and practicing and getting better, then you're not getting better. You got to fail. Practice.
You have to. Ooh, that one, that hard truth. One more. Angelica, you want to share? Confronting, I know. Okay. These are really, 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 really good. Oh, wait, yay, there you are.
I'm sorry.
No, apologies if necessary.
I can understand the question, sorry.
Oh, está bien. So I was asking, ¿cuál es la mentira sobre tú?
Oh, yes. I am very, very what is the word?
Está bien en español, and I'll translate it.
Not active.
Not active.
Yeah.
¿Como ejercicio o qué?
No soy muy activa. This is my
Ah,
mentira.
okay, está bien, entiendo. So, pero ¿con qué? ¿Activa con...?
Con el ejercicio.
Oh, okay. Claro, claro. Right. So saying that she's not active, like that's not part of who she is. And so then, yeah, what happens when you think that you are not a gifted mover, that you have to have a six pack or be able to pull your leg behind your head in order to say that your yoga was actually yoga? Yeah.
I like to make exercise, but my life is I'm not active with the exercise. Right?
Sí, entiendo. Dime, ¿y por qué? May I ask, ¿y por qué? ¿Porque no es suficiente o qué?
I don't have many time.
Está bien. So
Gracias por hablar español.
Sí. No hay problema. Yeah, so just saying like there's not enough time to work out. I don't have enough time. And I know as educators, and you tell your kids that like they say, I didn't have time to do my homework. Well, if it's a priority, you're gonna do the homework. That's just it. Like your priority is your priority. And if your priority is to move, you're gonna find a time to move. You know, Eileen was sharing early, and this is in general. Gracias, Angelica. So, Eileen, I know you shared earlier about like you love your children.
Gracias a usted.
Sí. So when you love your children endlessly, like you don't, I mean, and there's always times when I'm certain every parent's like, I don't have time to do that right now. Right. That's always something that comes up. But I venture to say that most parents aren't ever going to be like, I don't have time to feed you. I don't have time to make sure you have a bath. I don't have time to take you to school and help you with your homework. Like the idea of that is wild. Like, you know, that's when we're like, we're taking children away from you then. Like, oh, you don't have time for them? Like, okay, well, then we're going to take you away because they're not safe. Think of the same ways, like these lies that we tell ourselves about what we don't have time for. And at the level of neglect that we give to ourselves for things that actually make us powerful, like sleep, proper nutrition, movement of your body. Like a lot of us should have our bodies taken away from us. Like, you know what? You don't take care of her. We're just going to take her over here. Like, find somebody else to take care of her because you are neglecting her. So think about that same way that you show up for the people in your life that need you, because you can't imagine not. They're your everything. And what does that look like when you honor yourself in that same way? Because you are your everything. Because if your children are your everything, they need you. And they need you at your best. That's everybody. The people that you're taking care of that are in your household, the people that are in your community, the people that are in your classroom. If these are the things that are truly important to you, you have to be the most important to you, because you are putting your energy into all of these places. And it seems to me that everybody on here, just looking at the names, and tell me if I'm wrong, are female identifying just based on the names. And if that's incorrect, please correct me. But I want to speak towards in general. I believe that women, well, I know for certain that women are the giver of life. Clearly, that's what y'all do. You give birth. And I know you got somebody on here that's going to give birth pretty soon. And I always say, you know, women are the giver of life. We will, and not even with the body, but with the tongue, we will speak life into you, and we'll snatch it out of you if we're not in the mood. We will speak life or death over any situation. I believe that women are the heart of the house. And when they are looked after, everybody and everything in the community is better for it. So if you want a community to change, and this is a conversation I started having last year during the uprisings, and there's so many things that need to be changed, right? That's a much larger conversation. But one thing that I feel is absolutely pivotal is supporting the women in your community. Because I believe if you really want to change the world around you, take care of the caregiver. And 9 times out of 10, it's women. So with that being said, I could go scream it from the mountaintops how women need to take care of themselves. And I can give you a million ways that you could take care of yourself. But what I really need you to do is to confront you, to look at the places where you're not and you can be. So it's not about you having the tools. It's not about, it's like, well, I had my self-care day and I went and steamed. Well, steaming is not a thing anymore. That's a COVID thing of the past right now. But like I went to the spa, or I got a massage, or whatever it was, right? That is very great in action. And I love all of those things, trust. But it's the little things. I always tell my clients, poco a poco, paso a paso, little by little, step by step. It's like collecting pennies. One day you look and it's like, oh my gosh, I have so much money. You think about a change jar by the door if you grew up in a house where there was a change jar by the door, even if you have one now, not as much anymore because we always use debit cards, right? But you had a parent or a caregiver that would empty their jean pocket at the end of the day, and before you know it, you have this huge change jar. And it's like, that didn't happen overnight. It's like, then you have all this money to take to the bank or now to Coinstar or wherever. But those things happen over time out of just mindless habit and just a commitment to doing it every time you walked in the door. It was just a commitment to doing the thing. And taking care of yourself is a commitment to doing the thing. And it doesn't have to be this huge, wild, again, well, I don't have the money for it, or I don't have the time for it. What does it look like even with your movement of your body while you're sitting, listening to me? And we're going to obviously move our body in just a few minutes because I believe holistically these things go hand in hand. If you want your body to show up in a certain way, your mind has to show up in a certain way, and vice versa. There's not one or the other. Whatever, your physical fitness is completely connected to your mental fitness. And with Thickletic, we do not separate the two. They go together, period, at all times. But say there's a day like, okay, or another speaker, most of you have your cameras off. Like, what would it look like if you were able to do just some stretches while you're listening to what's being said? Some super basic stretches that would help to loosen your low back, to loosen your neck, to loosen your arms. And I'm going to give you some of those in just a little bit, some things that you can take away to put in your toolbox. But it doesn't have to be this 50-minute commitment. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 1 minute. There's something that I listened to this podcast a couple of months ago, and this woman came up with this idea during the pandemic. It was her 1 minute rule. So whatever, like she had a commitment to starting to run again, but she was sad because, not that we're not still in a pandemic, but when quarantine first started, like she was sad because, she had the quarantine blues like the rest of us. But she really wanted to get to running again. And she didn't have the excuse of not having the time because we was all sitting here. So she had to really confront herself of like, ooh, okay, can't lie about it being the time thing. Like, I want this thing, but I'm just not motivated to do it. And how do I motivate myself? So her commitment became, do it for 1 minute. Your commitment is to do it every day for 1 minute. So she'd get up every day and she'd lace up, go outside, and she's like, and if you feel good and you want to do more, you go further. If after you did that 1 minute and you're like, yeah, solid, and that's it. And there were days when she only ran 1 minute. But over time, what happened was, in honoring exactly where she was, like we were talking about at the beginning of this conversation, the 10% that you had to give that day, as long as you give that 10% fully and show up, it's enough. Her 1 minute, she decided, was enough. And in deciding that 1 minute was enough, it gave her the support and the love that she needed for herself to show up for herself even stronger when she had it in her to do it. And moment by moment, she just honored where she was. So I offer to you whatever it is in your life that you're saying that you just don't have time for, that you just don't have it in you. A, honor where that is. And then B, look at where the lie also resides. And I want you to look at where your truth and your lies really aren't in alignment with each other, because both can't be true. They can't resist. They cannot exist in the same space and be like some of these. I mean, there can definitely be some things like, okay, I'm this and I'm that. Those are that's absolutely something that can be. But I want you to look at your truths and your lies and look at this ones that are, when you look at them, you're like, well, this can't be true if this is here. This can't be true about me if this is also here. And then that becomes, is it something that I am just participating in an action that's out of alignment with my goal? And it's just, again, the way that you would talk to your students or look at the energy or the actions that they're bringing that are not to the space, that are just simply not in alignment with their goals. It's like you can't say you're going to Mexico and then put the GPS to go to Canada and be confused as to why you didn't get to the beach. Like, well, I can tell you, boo. Like, it's all in the steps that you're taking. So in working to take those steps, though, again, you don't have to get there overnight. And the steps don't have to be large. Walk, crawl, run, just get it done. So what I offer to you now is that jar and that lid that you brought with you, if you brought that with you today, like your 3 truths, I want you to fold those up and I want you to put that in that jar. And I want you to put that jar somewhere where you can see it. And here's the thing about this workshop today. If you never put another thing in that jar, it's enough. If you look at that jar and week by week or day by day, you discover some other truths that you really want to honor and put in that jar, fantastic. Love it. Whatever it is, it's enough. It's great. Here's the thing that I want you to understand. No matter how you wake up, what side of the bed you wake up on any given day, those truths about yourself will never change. For me, my mother will always love me endlessly. I will always be worthy of every opportunity that I am given. Those things will never, ever change, even when I don't feel like it. And these are the reasons I write these truths down, because there's days when I don't feel like it, because that's the lie I tell myself. And that is, I call dark energy or the enemy, whatever it is that you want to, the distractor, whatever you want to define it as and put language around it for what honors you and your beliefs. But it's really just a distraction from your greatness and your purpose. So the next thing that I want you to do is consider that when you are in a space where you feel the exact opposite of what we've been spending a lot of time talking about. And I spend this much time talking about it, especially to you all, because again, I don't have to reiterate for you the heavy lift that you've had this year. But the heaviness and the darkness is a very easy place to tap into. So I wanted to spend some time to really just kind of dismantle it and for you to look at where there's light in all of that and where the truth resides in all of that. And then the thing I want you to also look at are the days when you are in that space where you are getting things done. You are in the zone. This is what I call the green zone, where you're checking the to-do list off. You look up, you've gotten so many things done. You didn't even realize the time has flown by and you're like, oh my God, I'm amazing. I worked out, I batch cooked, I did all the things, I meditated, I did everything I needed to. I moisturized, I drink my whole gallon of water. Those days, right? When we have those days and we were like, damn, why can't every day be like this? People are acting right around me. I'm feeling good. Why can't it always be like this? And what I want to offer to you is when you have those days and you have that space, I want you to challenge yourself to take care of yourself when you're in the red zone. So you're forward thinking. So for instance, I always use batch cooking as an example because that's just a really easy one to think about. But whatever it is, so for instance, if you have like a laundry list of things to do, and you have extra energy to get things done that day, do more that day because you have the energy. Ride the wave. Because when you show up 3 days from then and you ain't got it in you, it's fine because you already forward thought for yourself. You got a little extra reading done. You got a little extra lesson planning done. You got an extra little workout in that day. So you burned a few more calories. You batch cooked. Because 3 days from now, when you can't be bothered to even think about what you're going to eat, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I forgot I made this thing and it's in the freezer. Yas, and it was so good. And how does that just turn your day around? When you know that the thing is already done and the thing that you just didn't have the energy to do was already done. So how can you forward think for yourself and take care of future you when you're in that green zone, when you are feeling like you are thriving and everything is going right? And forward think, because there's gonna, like, the only thing that is true is that nothing is permanent. The highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows, they will all shift. That will never stay the same. But when we're in the lowest of lows, we promise ourselves that that is going to last till eternity. And we're in the highest of highs, we're holding our breath because we know it's not going to last forever. And you're like, oh, you're almost scared. How many people are almost even scared to enjoy the highest of high because, like, well, I don't want to get comfortable here. Right? So you don't even give yourself the space to spread your wings in that moment and be like, ooh. And instead of being like, I don't know how long this is going to be here, consider, ooh, I don't know how long this is going to be here. So let me soak it all up now. Let me soak it into my roots. Let me pull it into my being. So on a day when it disappears, which guess what? You've survived all your darkest days that have come because you're still here. You're on this call. You made it. I presume you're alive. I can't see all your faces, but I presume you're alive. You made it. So the truth is, another truth you might want to write down is you survived all of your darkest days. So even on the days when they're the brightest days and you're scared to even lean into the brightness because you're afraid of the day it's going to be dark again, consider that you've already survived all the darkest days. So I might as well just enjoy this light while it's here. And while I'm here, can I harness a little pocket of that light and put it in the freezer for a day that's just a little dimmer than I'd like it to be? So you're forward thinking for yourself. You're tracking with yourself the same way you would your learners, the same way you would the people that you care for. You're just learning to get in your zone and your rhythm and honor wherever that is, knowing that poco paso a paso, little by little, step by step, it's all going to be okay. So now what I want to do is invite you to create your space for movement. We're going to take 2 minutes and I want you to take another look at the space around you. All you need is your mat or something cozy to utilize. But if you are a person who has blocks or anything like that, or a cushion, I invite you to find that. Anything that's going to make you feel like, ooh, yes, I'm intentional. We're here. We're doing this. And so we're going to take another minute and a half to set that up. And then the other thing I want you to do is, share in the chat and you can share them privately with me if you need to, but if there are any modifications, injuries that I need to, or any kind of, just any kind of special need that I need to accommodate for, let me know so that as I guide you through this, I am creating space for all the modifications. I am big on having a million modifications for up and down anyway, so that'll be there for you automatically. I will offer that, but if there's anything special or specific, please feel free to just throw it in the chat, or for something that you don't want to share largely in the space, but I need to know to make sure I'm keeping you safe, please share that now. All right, got about 30 more seconds and we're gonna move. All right. Okay, so to make sure I wasn't muted. Okay, so when you're ready, you're going to make your way onto your mat and bringing yourself onto all fours, making sure your shoulders are just over your wrists and your knee is just below your hip. Then I want you to take a peek through your knees and make sure you cannot see your big toes. If you can, open them up until they're hiding. Okay? Now from here, I want you to simply feel the earth beneath your palms. Feel the earth beneath your palms. Feel your fingertips pressing firmly into the mat. Feel the tops of the feet pressing softly onto the mat. Knees on the mat. Squeezing belly in. Pull your belly away from the earth so you're not rounding your back. I want a nice flat back here, but I just want you to find as much length in the shoulder girdles and the hip girdles as possible. So press firmly away from the mat while keeping the heart center parallel to the earth. And then I want you to take a look at your chin. I want your chin parallel to your clavicles, to your shoulder, collarbone. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. So clavicle or collarbone. Okay? All right. Now from here, I want you to take a nice deep inhale as you press away from the earth. And then as you exhale, I want you to sit back on your heels. As you exhale, I want you to draw your chin to your chest. So then you feel that stretch and elongation down the back of the neck and right between those shoulder blades, possibly all the way through your tailbone. Squeezing your belly away from your upper thighs, helping that C curve in that spine to deepen. As you inhale, we're going to come back to 4 points. Exhale into that cat. So we're not doing a cat and cow, it's just a cat and coming in neutral spine. Keeping that spine nice and elongated. Reach the crown of the head away from the coccyx every time you come up onto 4 points. Squeeze the belly away from the thigh every time you come into your cat. We're going to take 3 more breaths just like this. Inhale forward and exhale back. Inhale forward and exhale it back. Next time you exhale it back, just hold there. And feel free to start reaching your hands away from the body and keeping your hips simultaneously pressing towards the heels. So I want you to find as much space between those fingertips and those shoulders as possible. Now from here, lift your hips as much as you need to get the forehead and the nose onto the mat. Coming into our child's pose. Breathing here, inhaling, feeling that belly pressing into the thighs. Exhale, let your body fall a little deeper into this child's pose. Just feel the rhythm of the breath. Letting your brain deepen into your body. Not worrying about what's going on outside these 4 walls, whatever it is, they'll be waiting there for you. So right now, keep your brain in your head and your body on your mat. 2 more breath cycles just like this. Your next inhalation is going to press you back into center line, back to those 4-point position. From here, I want you to tuck your toes under. And before we go anywhere, I just want you to sit your hips back on your heels and feel that stretch on the tops of the feet and maybe in those toes, in the bottom of the feet. Inhale, bring those hips just above the knees. Exhale, press those hips back. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale it up. And this time when you exhale, you're going to press your knees up off of the mat so that your knees are hovering just above the mat. We inhale, bring the knees down. Exhale, bring it up. Now here is a space where if you need to take a modification, one, you can lift just one knee up at a time, just lightly activating that core, right? Excuse me. Also, the higher you lift your knees up, the more accessible it actually is on your abs. There's a little more arm work, but it'll make it more accessible on your abs. So if your abs are like, nope, just press up a little bit higher away from the mat. If your abs are like, give it to me, baby, then you're going to lift just about an inch off the mat and bring it back down. That gravity pulls a little harder when you're closer to the earth. So pick your poison on your taps. This is warming up the whole body here, but from the powerhouse. We're here for another 20 seconds. Breathe through it. Bring my clock over here so I can see it better. Coming into our last 5, 4, 3. We're going to hover. 2, hover hold right here, 10 seconds. Hover hold. At the end of this hover hold, which is in 5 seconds, we're going to press up into that downward facing dog. That's happening in 3 and 2. And lift those hips up. Let's walk our dog out right here. Left to right. Left to right. Left to right. That head hang heavy. You can take some nods of the head. Yes, right here if that feels good to you. Maybe a shake of the head. No. Whatever you need. Let's kind of see where your body is right here in this downward facing dog. Make sure your fingertips are open nice and wide. New York to LA, like you're giving a high five to the earth. Yeah? And then you want to make sure that your pointer fingers are like train tracks parallel to one another. Then I want you to roll your elbow creases towards the front of the room. So imagine that you have 2 little skinny magazines. You got to squeeze them under your armpits and hold them there. And see how this changes, how this feels in the activation in the back body. Take a couple more breath cycles right here. And then we're going to take some ankle taps. All right, your next inhalation, you're going to lift those hips up nice and high to the earth or to the sky. And then as you exhale, right hand is going to go to the left ankle. Inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back. So down dog to twist tap. Down dog, twist tap. The further you can get these hands to the outside of the ankle, the more twist you're going to find in that body. So if you need more, twist a little deeper, reach a little further. If you need less, maybe you're even just tapping close to the mat of that foot that's just in front of that foot. Whatever you need. Maybe your hand only goes back an inch or 2. Who cares? Just give me what you got. Whatever it is, it's enough. We're here for another 20 seconds. Ten right here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, we're going to come onto our tippy toes. And we're going to walk onto our forearms coming into dolphin. Modification for dolphin, should you need it, is bring your knees down for me, untuck your toes, and I will have you take puppy instead. So you'll bring your elbows, bring your hands into prayer, like this. You're going to bring your elbows in front of your body, and then you're just going to keep your hips above your knees, just like we did in 4 points, and then bring that heart center down to the earth and feel that stretch. So that's a space you can hang out. Otherwise, you're on your forearms. And you're just going to keep walking your toes forward as much as you're able. And holding there. We're here for another 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Your hips are to the sky. Slowly bring those knees down. And then you're going to roll on. For me, it's going to be my left side so that I'm facing you. But roll on to a side, whatever side that is for you. Just remember what it is. And then I want a 90-degree angle from hip to knee, knee to ankle. Yeah, see my nice little L shape there? My nice little 90-degree angle. And then I want you to squeeze your belly in and then pull your bottom ribs, so for me, my left ribs, off of the mat. Then I'm going to extend this arm long to make a nice little pillow for myself. And I'm going to flex my feet, and you're going to join me. From here, we're going to open this foot, just hips width distance apart. So have a look. You want your hip and your knee to be on the horizon, one line. Foot is flexed. Squeezing belly in. We're going to extend this leg long till you feel that yum yum. That's what I call booty cheeks. Your yum yum completely contract. So you're reaching this foot all the way away. So one long line. Keeping that knee just hips width distance height. So notice my knees aren't touching, and it's not all the way up here either. It's right on the horizon with my hip. So we exhale, push it back. Inhale, bring it forward. Just keep breathing through it. Squeeze that belly in. Watch that knee. Make sure it stays on the horizon the whole time. That's the control, the inner and outer thigh, the adductor and the abductor working. This hip is coming to the party. You're working those internal hip muscles. Now in 15 seconds, we're going to meet in that full extension. Remember, we're inhaling as we bring it in. Exhale as you bring it out. Make sure you feel that cheek really squeeze at the back. We're 10 away from that hold. Stay with it. We're holding 5, 4. Keep that foot flexed. 3, 2. Reach it out. Hold right here. Squeezing belly in. Check in with these bottom ribs. Make sure they're not just chilling on the mat like they're a slab on the barbecue. I need you to activate. I want you to imagine that I took a lasso, put it around your waist, and I'm pulling it up towards the ceiling. Now, from right here, we're going to point our toes. We're going to keep that leg nice and straight on the horizon. We're going to bring it towards the camera or towards the front of your room, whatever that is for you, and bring it back away. Again, squeezing that cheek on that back swing. As you bring that leg back, I want you to make sure that it's not hyperextending behind the body. Pilates, so we're mixing up this little Pilates class. We're mixing up what you're used, like what, we're mixing up yoga and Pilates, but in your Pilates, you want to make sure that you are always using those small connecting muscles and always using alignment with the body, which is how you will then use those small, what we call slow twitch muscles. So your fast twitch muscles, which are the bigger muscles that we tend to train, like your quadriceps, your hamstrings, the bigger muscles that you can see, what I call the show muscles. And then you have the actual worker bee muscles, the ones that are holding all of those bigger muscles in place that we don't pay as much attention to, but those are really the ones that A, keep your body functionally moving, and B, whatever physical results that you want to see in your body, especially if you're here for a long, lean look, that's all going to come from training those slow twitch muscles. We're here for another 15 seconds. Then we're going to meet with this leg just in front of our hip. So pointing right here, we'll meet here in 10. Check in with those bottom ribs, zip them up off of that mat. All righty, next time you bring that foot forward, I want you to hold. Now you're pointing now, then I want you to flex. Point, flex, point, flex, point, flex. We're going to meet in that flex in 3, 2, and hold the flex right here. Squeeze that belly in. Now, from here, we're going to open this leg up just in front of the body. So I don't want you to open so far that you fall back, right? So we're opening up just as high as you're able without letting this top cheek drop behind the bottom cheek. So feel your body. They're your yum-yums. Make sure that your yum-yums stay in alignment the entire time. You also want to make sure that your hips never pull, this top hip never pulls back, which will ultimately help you keep that yum-yum where it needs to be. So everything is nice and stable. The only thing that's moving is this top leg, open and close. And again, it doesn't matter how far or how wide or how high you go. Do less better. We're not here for much longer. I just need another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop that foot down. I want you to extend that bottom leg. Bring this that top leg in front of you, and just take that little stretch right there. Maybe even a little tap. That feels good to you. Then from here, we're going to go back into a little bit of yoga. We're going to stretch this inner thigh. So you're going to bring this knee out. You still have that 90-degree angle. And I want you to give me that external rotation on this foot. So the inside of my right foot is touching the earth. My top left foot is just hanging out on the earth. And then we're going to take cactus arms, bring them down onto the mat. So you're going to turn your belly button to the mat. Bring your chin down and then your forehead down. Now I'm going to lift my head so you can hear me, but I don't want you to lift your head. So just listen to me. This gets muffled when I have my head on the mat. So here, you're working to allow your inner thigh, your right inner thigh, or left if that's the leg you led with, just paint itself onto the earth. So it should be a nice external rotation of both the right leg and the right foot, so that ankle. So that's pressing against the earth. We're working to keep your belly button flat to the earth as much as you're able, so you're not pressing down, just let gravity do its job. This way, like you just took a load off in your bed. Now I'm going to drop my head and we breathe. Bonus points for my yogis or yoginis that are already well versed in practice, or you feel like you want to give this a go, you can take an external rotation of the long leg. So for me, it's my left leg, and I'm bringing the inside of my left thigh onto the earth along with the inside of my left foot. Both feet are flexed if you take this. And again, if you don't, it doesn't matter. Just do what you're able. It's just fine. Inhaling into any pain sensation, any places where you feel resistance, tightness, send your breath there. Inhaling, feeling the belly rise. Exhale, belly fall. Two more breath cycles here. Your next inhalation is going to slowly lift that head up. From here, we're going to extend that bent leg long. We're going to bring these wrists just underneath the shoulder heads, squeezing belly in, feet or hips width distance apart. Let the tops of the feet soften onto the earth. And then we're going to take just a little stretch. So here, if it feels good just to extend your back and heart up with your elbows still towards the earth, do that. If you're here and you're like, definitely need more compression in my low back or can handle more, feel free to extend the arms long. As you do this, I invite you to relax your yoni. So you're going to want to squeeze your cheeks tight. I want you to relax them and let your belly button fall towards the earth. Let your hip heads fall towards the earth. Let your body feel that lower back compression here. Two more breaths, just like this, and we'll take it all on the other side. Your next inhalation is going to slowly press you up. Take a moment in your child's pose to stretch out that low back. So we compressed it, now we're lengthening it. The next inhalation brings you back onto 4 points. And we're simply going to turn back towards the front, drop over for me, my right side. Let's take that here. So remember, the first thing we do is we lined up 90 degrees from the hip to the knee, from the knee to the heel. And then we're going to bring this arm out, bring that head onto the arm, and then squeeze your ribs away from body. Inhaling, top leg, hips width distance apart. On the horizon, flex that foot. Exhale, bring it out. Inhale, back to that 90. And remember here, our modification is simply just doing what you're able. Do what you're able here. Do less better. So that means you don't do as many, but your alignment is crystal clean. Fantastic. If you're constantly working on your alignment and you only do 1 or 2, fantastic. If you're a Pilates pro and you got this under control, and you're like, yes, love it. Fantastic. Just do what you're able. Really squeeze that cheek at the top. Here, I want you to check in with what I call the pelvic floor. Well, it's called the pelvic floor, what I call Starbucks muscles. And I want you to make sure that your pelvic floor is engaged. So why do I call it Starbucks muscles? I want you to imagine that you had a couple of venties, and I'm never letting you out of this Zoom room, and I'm never letting you off of this mat. So I want you to zip up like you got to go number 1 and number 2. That whole pelvic floor, that whole pelvic hammock is engaged from the top of the pubic bone all the way through the tailbone. In 10 seconds, we're going to meet with that leg fully extended. Watch this alignment. Make sure that knee doesn't drop down or float up as you move through this. Next time you bring that leg back, I want you to hold. Point those toes, squeeze belly in, check in with these ribs, make sure they're lifting up. Bring it forward, right in alignment with that hip, and then back. Little Bob Ross bonus moment here. You can flex this foot coming back and point it coming forward just to give you a little more articulation. I'm going to keep mine pointed today because I already had 1 personal training session and a chiropractor situation. Ooh. So we're doing what we're able. And it is not Bob Ross today. But if Bob Ross is available to you today, I want you to be honest with yourself. Collect more for your fitness bank where you can, right? Pennies, dimes, nickels, it all adds up. So where you can get more, take more. Just like when you're in your green zone, when you can do more, do more. For the days when you need to do less. Keep squeezing that cheek at the back. Almost there. 5 seconds, and we're going to bring this foot just in front of us, and we're going to hold it there. 2 and 1. Here we point, we flex. We point, we flex. Point, flex. Point, flex. Point, flex. Hold. Open it up. Remember, these cheeks stay stacked, and then bring it down. Up and down. Check in with this knee. Make sure it's just in alignment with this bottom knee, yeah? Keep giving your yum-yums a graze. Make sure that they're in one line. We are almost there. 15 seconds. 10 right here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it down. Take that knee, bring it up, take that stretch wherever you need it. And when you're ready, you're gonna roll over onto that belly. Give me that external rotation on this bent left knee or right knee, wherever you are. And then that external rotation on that lengthened leg if you took it on the other side. Then you slowly bring your nose, your forehead to the mat. Goalpost cactus arms here. Inhaling, feeling belly rise. Exhale, belly fall. Two more breath cycles here. Your next inhalation's gonna bring your legs back into one line and your head off of your mat. From here, I want you to work to bring your hands behind your back. Give me an interlocked grip, webbing to webbing grip. I want you to squeeze your heels, toes, and knees to kiss. And I want you to squeeze so tight that your kneecaps pull off of that mat. From here, we're just gonna take a heart opener. You're gonna take these thumbs, bring them down the center line. And that chin pulls up off of the mat, away from the clavicle. Keep squeezing those heels, toes, and knees to kiss. Take little sips of breath here. Don't let your head crunch into your neck. So elongate the back of your neck and the front of your neck simultaneously. For 3, and 2, and 1. Slowly release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Squeezing belly in. Press up off of the mat. Push back. Take a moment. Just wiggle your hips out here. So you're not quite in your child's pose and you're not quite in 4 points. You're just kind of right between. Just take a sway left to right, left to right, left to right. Your next inhalation is going to bring you into a nice seated position. Ever feels cozy to you. I want you to take a moment to feel your sits bones pressing into the earth. Feel your shoulders stacked just above your hips. The crown of the head, nice and long here, reaching away from the tailbone. We're going to take just a little twist here. So you're going to inhale, float these hands up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee and look back for something new. Take just a little twist. Stay nice and long. Remember, where the eyes go, the body follows. So keep looking back for something new. Inhale, back to center line. Exhale, switch that out. Keep both cheeks firmly on the earth. Inhale long. Exhale, twist and twist. And one more twist. Slowly coming back to center line. We take one more collective breath, grabbing all of that love and energy that we've created together this evening, my sisters. Bring that right between your hands' palms. And let's bring that down the center line, stopping first at the third eye, acknowledging the power of the thoughts. Remember, where the mind goes, the body most certainly follows. So be careful with your thoughts. Be intentional and be gracious. Stopping next at the chin. Remember, we birth and we can just as easily speak death over life with this tongue. So be mindful of the words that come out of your mouth. Be mindful of the words that you say to yourself. Be mindful to lean into your truth and recognize your lies and speak only of the things that will bring you closer to the purpose that you were put here to serve, and give that same respect to the people around you. Finally, stopping at the heart center, where love is where life resides. It all ends and begins right here. So do everything with love. Lead with love at all times. Most importantly, when it comes to how you speak about and see yourself. Or if you want to be an impact in your community and you want to teach others to love others, you must show them first how you love yourself. We'll close our practice today with Namaste, which means a lot of things in Sanskrit. My favorite is the light in me loves and the light in me respects and honors the light in you. Namaste. Right. Thank you to each and every one of you who were able to stay for the entirety. For those who weren't able to stay, that's okay. It'll be recorded and they can get the rest of it later. It's been recorded, so it'll be shared. If you want to know more about Thickletic in the Zone, you can go to iamthickletic.com. You can also find me on Instagram at iamthickletic, as well as all things NK. Everything is an I am statement. If you want to pick up some merch and support Black and Brown business, because I'm both, feel free to do so. You can find that also at iamthickletic. And I'm sure the emails that'll come out will have any of my contact information in them, and I'd be happy to connect with you. Take good care of yourselves, honor yourselves in all that you do.
Thank you.
My absolute
Thanks so much,
pleasure.
Bye, everyone.
Yes, my absolute pleasure. Bye, y'all. Let me see the chat real quick for everyone. Yay.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Gracias,
you.
Angelica. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you for speak Spanish. Thank you very much.
Oh, sí, no problema. All right. Está bien.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.